Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. They take pride in caring for their customers' property by providing lawn and whole house pest control. Whether you have roaches or any other unwanted bugs in your home, Turf Pro has you covered. Or if your lawn needs weed control, fertilized, insect control, Turf Pro has you covered by providing custom treatments to meet your property's needs. No property is the same, so why should it be treated that way? Turf Pro, where the blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Call 850-890-5820.
When summer comes to a close on the loveliest village on the plains, our family gathers again just as we have for the last 131 years. Unrivaled traditions.
Get out your toilet paper. Toomer's Corner is going to be buried tonight.
The craziest atmosphere.
You're not going to keep them off the field tonight.
Unforgettable moments.
Let's go play ball. Let's go.
That's Auburn being Auburn.
Your home for the Auburn Tigers. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Your home to the NFL. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Pushed away and intercepted. Ball game. The fairy tale continues.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
And the breakthrough for the U.S.
4.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You are now in the doghouse, and you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick.
Yo.
And the Bone Crusher.
Word.
Yes, sir. Two guys with phenomenal nicknames and a guy without a nickname, unless you're listening to the Inside Drive, DJ Davey Crockett. And Bone Crusher probably is on year 3 of trying to, like, come up with a nickname. Striker, Crockett, something. I'm like, hey, whatever you want to call me.
You can't come up with your own name. It has to be given to you.
That's what I said. Whatever
I
you
tried
call
to name
me.
him twice. I want to name him Striker. Now I'm going to name him Crockett. He doesn't know who Crockett is from Miami Vice.
Oh, I don't.
yeah, I don't
Sonny
know
and
who that
Crockett,
is.
man. Yeah, no doubt, dude.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
I have no idea who that is, but like you said though, it's like if you listen to some of these rejoiners that we have. I didn't even know I had a tattoo on my right tricep of Pennsylvania and stuff like that. I like that though. It's kind of funny, like, you know what I mean, coming in. So yeah, anything anybody wants to call me, I never cared about that. But
The paragon of producing.
I mean, yeah, you had that from Professor Plum. I think when I first started for that first year, it felt like there was a new nickname that came out every afternoon, the straw that stirs the drink and all that good stuff.
No
And now
doubt.
it's a teamwork of straws.
Oh, yeah. It's a big collusion of a bunch of different flavors that come together during the week, and every day, every show, you get a little something different.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a nice conglomerate here. I do want to start the show off with giving a happy birthday to a basketball coach over there at Gulf Coast State College and Rusty Cook. Rusty's probably busy with practice right now, but if you're listening and you know Coach Rusty, then why don't you tell him that the Afternoon Underdog sent him a message of a happy birthday on this beautiful afternoon. And I mean, it literally is beautiful.
I didn't know he was at Gulf Coast now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he
Good for
was
him.
over there at Bay, and then I think he was going to be doing some youth basketball, but now he's over there. I think he's an assistant coach underneath Coach Gaffney over there for the Commodores on the men's side of things, and they got off to a good start. I think you guys talked about that yesterday in the local segment with the men's and women's team sweeping. I really want to get up with the athletic director over there, Mike Candler, and see if I can get a little press pass so I can go over there and check out some more games this year, and you know, even some of the volleyball and stuff like that. So if time permits, I would love that. I know we went to a men and women's game last year, and it's a lot of fun watching those athletes. Just like last night, we were in Fort Walton Beach watching the Mosley Dolphin football team. Not the result that we wanted, 35-0 in the favor of the Choctawhatchee Indians. But I will say it was a nice stadium, kind of right there off the highway, so that was cool. And it's always fun calling the games from the stands because we're on the Mosley side,
right?
And so instead of doing it from the press box and being bougie, as Jay Henley on the Inside Drive referred to something when they were talking about nothing having to do with this game, but yeah, it's been nice to be around the crowd.
I think it was bocce ball they were talking about, bougie.
Yes.
And wearing white and it being like, you know, really kind of like stuck up and snooty kind of a sport, if you will.
Exactly. That's exactly right there, man. It was a great show this afternoon as well. Make sure that you keep it on ESPN Northwest Florida. But from 7 to 9 a.m., you've got the Coach James Hale Show. From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley. And then right here with the Afternoon Underdogs, you never know what to expect from 4 to 6 p.m. as Ric Flair in the background. And actually, there's some news that I would have never gotten to without that particular soundbite. But Ric Flair has signed a 2-year deal with AEW.
Wow.
And which
Or woo, yeah.
yeah, woo! Which is wild because I think it was a year, maybe 2 years ago that he had like his retirement match.
Right.
I'm running out of. I mean, he is putting Brett Favre to shame right now.
He's like a modern day Gordie Howe. I mean, like he's playing into like, how old is he now? Like 70?
Oh, dude, the 70.
Like, at least,
yeah, right. He's
up
pushing
there,
80.
no doubt. So, like, I mean, big ups to him that he's still able to, like,
74.
to get up, get around. I mean, there's people that can't even, at that age,
Much
can't
less
even use the
wrestle.
bathroom, much less get out there in a wrestling ring and perform. So good for him,
Oh, yeah, that that little Ric Flair strut, that Flair walk is a little bit slower than what it used to be. But yeah, I saw it on the score and I'm like, I look over at Kyle because we're on the way to the game. I'm like, he's signing with AEW. He's like, yeah, man, I don't know really what to tell you on that. I'm like, all right, well, 2 more years. So that means the man's going to be 76 and he's going to have another retirement match, I'm sure, at some point in time. I really don't know what capacity he's going to be with the AEW, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe a little final match between him and Sting. I don't know what corporation or company or promotion that Sting is with or if he's going to be retiring soon, but I can say that without a shadow of a doubt that Sting was my all-time favorite wrestler.
What about, like the Paul brothers, anything? Maybe he get involved with doing something like that?
I mean, I have no idea. My finger isn't really on the pulse of what's going on in the world of wrestling, but I do enjoy. One thing is also for certain is like anytime that we do bring up wrestling, especially if it's like if I were to say what's your top 5 favorite wrestlers. Text it right now to 850-215-6290. Then people are going to come in with their top 5 favorite wrestlers because it's one of those things that people hold near and dear to their heart, and it's that nostalgia effect as well. So even if they're not sitting there watching it on a Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, whatever they got on Thursday night, you know what I mean, and then all of the pay-per-views. But I will say this, that once a year my interest does peak whenever they get to that Royal Rumble, WrestleMania kind of stretch. And it's like, this is a big event. It's kind of like UFC for me. There's a lot of people who watch UFC the way that me and you watch football.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where it's like weekly, they've got these events that's like UFC fight night, and they know like this guy should be beating this guy and stuff like that. Whereas I'm a guy that's like, I'll watch the pay-per-views, I watch the big boxing matches and all of that good stuff, and I try to keep up with it, but there's only so much that you can put up into your noggin.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like all the sports that we have going on inside of our heads and that we're talking about, it'd be really hard to know everything about every kind of sport out there. So, I mean, we got our niche things that, make us happy that we're into. And fortunately, it's something that a lot of other people, especially in this area, are into. So it gives us a lot of camaraderie with a lot of people, something that we can share and talk about.
Couple of points of business real quick, and it's not necessarily business as much as it is charity. We have the baseball round robin tournament for Emberlyn Newman, the 2-year-old. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but come together, spread the love. That's going to be this Sunday. It's going to start at 8 a.m. They're going to have a moment of prayer around 11:30 in the morning. There's no team fee to get your team involved in this. It's going to be over there at the Lynn Haven Sports Complex, and all gate donations are going to go to the family of Emberlyn Newman. We'll talk more about that. I'll bring it up at least twice more throughout the show. And then also, if you want to get involved with Jack Patterson and Wrestling Against Cancer, we're still looking for sponsors to help all of that. It's going to be for a young man, Jaden, who's 15 years old at this point in time. He'll be 16 by the time that the event comes around. And if you haven't been to a Wrestling Against Cancer event, I'm not trying to promote the event necessarily as trying to get sponsors for it, so that the more sponsors that help here, even if it's $20, $100, whatever it is that you feel compelled to give, the better off Jaden's going to be. We're talking about a young man who has to do daily chemo, I believe, and then a monthly spinal tap at 15 years old. If that doesn't tell tug at your heartstrings. I'm not sure if you got one beating in there. Like maybe you got a pacemaker or something. Well, I shouldn't say that because there are plenty of people who do have pacemakers. But
You're alienating all the pacemaker listeners. Right
yeah,
now.
Exactly. let me not do that. But yeah, so if you'd like to get together with Jack Patterson, you can text us here at 850-215-6290, and you can also get up with Jack Patterson. Probably the easiest way to do it would just go to Facebook, type in Jack Patterson, get up with him, and man, it will be a good event. It's a fun event, but this is all about Jaden, just like the baseball charity event is all about Emberlyn Newman. You can give us a call or text today at 850-215-6290. We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. And we're going to dive into our local real quick. We like to save the best for last, but we also like to get out of the gate with the best stuff. So we did talk about Mosley. They lost 35-0. According to Max Preps right now, their next game is going to be Friday, November 10th. That is next Friday. They will be taking on Buchholz over there in Gainesville, who is 9-0 to this point. Not entirely sure if we are going to be on the call for that one, waiting on the word from the athletic director from Mosley, Doug Lee. But once we find out, you guys will know. We'll be creating promos. I say we. When I say we, I mean the Bone Crusher, because everything that you hear coming out of your speakers is put together by the Bone Crusher. But tonight at Tommy Oliver, if you ain't got nothing to do, go to Tommy Oliver and check out Bozeman and Rutherford. Now, this is already a historical season for Bozeman. We talked about this last week, but right now they're sitting 9-0 going into the final week of the regular season. And like I said, to this point, they've already got the best record in program history. 9-0. The previous 8-3, and that was back in 2012. So 11 years later, they've already beaten that, and they had Division I talent, one of those being the Maryland defensive lineman Chandler Burkett, and then also a quarterback for Buffalo in Jacob Martinez. The most recent victory that they had clinched themselves the 1 seed, and then also a first-round playoff bye in the Class 1R Region 1. So tonight, Bozeman, Rutherford, Tommy Oliver, 7 p.m. Make sure you guys get out there and check that out. I know there's also some other things going around town, so if you know any good stuff, some activities for people to have fun, you can text it over here to us at 850-215-6290. We'll read those out so that we can continue this branch of community to help people find things to do, because, you know, I'm a guy who on the weekend, especially when it's football season, sometimes I can find myself on the couch from Saturday in the morning until Sunday at night, and the only time that I get up is maybe to go outside and get some fresh air, as old school would call it, and then also to grab something to eat and make myself a drink or something. Right. And, you know, not everyone's like that. They would like to get out and do something. So if you got anything in mind, you can text it to us.
This is your homework, though. I mean, it's part of doing your job, you know, knowing all this kind of stuff. And the only way you're going to know it is actually by sitting there and watching a lot of this. And the more you watch, obviously, the more you're going to know, and the better the show is going to be, more information you're going to be able to hand out to everybody. So it's like me, Stu, you know, not my full-time job, but still got to do your homework.
Hey, that's a good point there. Again, we're on streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. You can like and share the Facebook feed and follow us there on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download the app and register at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. If you're at work right now and you're not really supposed to be on your phone, but you do have a computer in front of your face, you can go to ESPNPC.com, click on Listen Live. Thursday night football, obviously I was calling the high school football game, so I wasn't able to really watch Thursday night football. I know Derrick Henry, Najee Harris had a touchdown apiece there. The Steelers, we got in the car probably with 4 minutes left to go in the game when the Titans had the ball. Then they threw the ball to Traylon Burks on 4th and 4 to the left sideline there, and he ends up with a concussion. And for a second, I don't know if you were watching at this point, Caveman Rick, but it was still serious. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was removed off the field by a car, goes to the hospital, dealing with concussion symptoms now, but he was not moving after that. And normally when a guy, when they're playing football and a guy has a concussion or something like that, he's laid flat out. Where in this case, the way that Traylon Burks kind of fell down, his head falls back, so it hits the ground, and then he rolls over, and he's essentially on his side, not necessarily in the fetal position because he's not all curled up, but still just a very, it was, even Al Michaels was saying, we're not going to speculate about this because we have no idea. At this point in time.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to start speculating when you don't know. But yeah, scary moment. No, I didn't actually catch that towards the end. By that point, I'd already turned it off. But good game for a Thursday night game, considering, because they are a bunch of stinkers. You mentioned some of the scoring though. Something Adam had mentioned, and we were talking about yesterday during the show about Deontay Johnson getting a touchdown finally.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big deal for him. And then of course, Najee Harris, especially if you got fantasy, I have him on one of my fantasy teams. Not a great season for him at all. But actually last night I had him on the bench, but he ended up putting about 15.5 points up. So not a bad showing from him. Hopefully they can continue with that, the rest of the season.
And the Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb will be out for the season as well. Now, Ryan Mulvey sent this over to me, again, the host of the Inside Drive, and he wanted, this was actually for his show, but he sent it to me and said, hey, I missed a fun fact. So from Adam Schefter, the Steelers keep winning ugly. At 5-3, the Steelers are the 34th team since 1933 when rushing and receiving stats were first tracked to be outgained in each of their first games of the season. They're the only one of those who had a winning record. The Steelers are also the only team this season to be outgained in every game, and they've been outgained by negative 790 yards, second worst to only the Broncos, who've been outscored by 830 points.
So that's like about an average of 100 yards or points a game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that's quite a bit if you think about that. And then to still have that, record, that's pretty decent. But that's Mike Tomlin.
Outgained.
That's the way Mike Tomlin rolls. I mean, he's been in the league for how long now, and he hasn't had a losing season. So how do you have that? You have to put up numbers like that. You have to, still win even when the stats and the numbers are stacked against you.
Yeah. And Will Levis throws a pick to end the game. Just like last week, I'm not going to jump all over the fact that he threw 4 touchdowns. I'm not going to jump all over the fact that he threw an interception to end the game because he got him down there. So at this time, what I'll say is he's showing flashes. He's showing what you want out of a guy who's starting in the middle of the season here.
And
this is only his second game. It's on a short week. You're coming off of a win. You're on the road playing in Acrisure Stadium, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who do have that mean streak, who do have that get it by any means type of idea, type of mantra, type of motto. So I'm with him right now at this point. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yes, watch out for Will Levis. He's the future of the Tennessee Titans. He could be. He could also not be. Again, I go back to Brock Purdy, 13-0, now 13-3, and now everyone wants to be like, oh, he's not as good as what? No, dude. Like, all right, he's had a couple of moments. He's had some moments. He had a concussion, threw 2 interceptions. He brought the 49ers down to beat the Browns. Joe Moody missed a field goal. You can't blame that on Brock Purdy. You can't say he's not clutch because of that. One of my favorite sayings in all of sports, especially when it comes to college football, but across the board, it's applicable everywhere. Let the cake bake. Jack Patterson says, good afternoon to you as well, Jack. Randy says, get it, boys. Yes, sir, we're going to try. Right, stay Chris, though. And this will lead us into one of our next topics. Did y'all just hear on Gottlieb the latest on the Michigan scandal? He says it may have all started with 2 private investigators linked to Ryan Day. Yes, I actually did hear about this a little bit. I saw about it on Twitter. I'm not going to read too deep into it. Why? How far are we removed from Gottlieb saying something where he had to kind of come all the way back? You got to be real careful about what you say sometimes, unless you're going to say, hey, I'm speculating. Hey, I'm theorizing. But I've also seen people on Twitter talking about the RICO, which is, normally involving with gang activity and stuff like that.
Or mafia.
With this, yeah, or mafioso. Yeah, exactly. So, I'll go right back to the statement I just gave, the old cliche I gave. We still have to let the cake bake. Does it look good right now? No, it don't look good for Michigan. The whole Central Michigan situation with Stallion possibly be on the sideline in Central Michigan clothing. If that's the case, That's not a good look. And then everything's going to tie back to Jim Harbaugh saying he had no knowledge of it, where he just gave himself, or Michigan just gave him a 3-game suspension, tried to go 4. The NCAA said, we're not taking your 4-game suspension. So they answered back with, all right, fine, we'll do a 3-game suspension. And he said he had no knowledge of that, or he was lying about that. So it's one of those situations for me. One, I don't know how much. It's not Gottlieb. Obviously, Gottlieb has been doing this for a long time, right? So there's got to be something to it, but I'm going to be very careful and just kind of wait this situation out here and see how it plays out, because if that's true, then maybe we're all overreacting to this to some extent, that Ryan Day is going to go out and get 2 guys to basically have a mutiny again. Well, not a mutiny.
They're like moles. Like, yeah. They get, infiltrate the system, and they're working for somebody else on the on the inside that's on the outside, and, doing bad things. So I can definitely see that happening. But like you were saying about Gottlieb, I'd pump the brakes a little bit until you hear from maybe a more reliable source, because he has had a tendency to jump ahead of putting the cart in front of the horse, and saying things before there was actually proof and documentation backing up what he was claiming that was truth out there. But again, it's a bad look. And, hopefully, a bunch of this stuff's not true. But this can go back to just, an Ohio State, Michigan, just rivalry kind of a thing, and them just going back and forth at one another, and, somebody trying to hurt the other program.
Yeah, and so what I'm going to do here is, we're going to be taking a break in a second, and we're going to get over to the Real Fishing Report with Tim Braddock. He's going to be doing it from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, and we've got some exciting things to talk about this afternoon. But real quick here from On 3, Michigan is launching an investigation into PLS allegedly connected to family of Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. So again, this is another one of those, all right, here goes the investigation, but what things are they going to uncover along the way? What kind of breadcrumbs are they going to drop for us, so that we can follow this situation? Because it is a wild situation, and it's almost unique to something that I haven't really seen before, maybe when this was going on, or something of this nature going on. Well, it goes back to the Patriots, but the difference is it goes back to the Patriots when pertaining to Michigan. Yeah. Now, if this side of the thing is true, that changes the whole entire ball game. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next is the Real Fishing Report with Tim Braddock.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Fall Football Finale. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to Florida State versus Florida in Gainesville. Listen to play Gator Trivia at 1240 during the Inside Drive on November 6th, 8th, 9th, and 13th for your chance to qualify. We'll announce the winner live on location from Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor on November 16th during the Inside Drive. From ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Sunny the rest of the day with a wind out of the northeast around 14 miles per hour and 73. Tonight, look for a light breeze out of the east-northeast and clear skies with a temperature near 56. Tomorrow, high around 77 and sunny with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, hot with a high of 75 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new Kia and see why everyone is talking about Kia. The new SUV family has movement that inspires, and we invite you to test drive the new 2023 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, and the Telluride. You can command the road in a sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a brand new 2023 Kia Rio, Forte, K5, or Stinger, and discover the all-new vehicle at Bill Bird Kia for you and your family. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City today, or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. Peace of mind you can trust at your local community dealer. Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street, Panama City.
Are you thirsty?
Oh, yeah, baby.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Hello.
Well, hello. Call or text now.
Hello.
850-215-6290.
Is anyone there?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back in the doghouse. It is the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with the Bone Crusher and Caveman Rick. You can follow along with us on Facebook. Leave us your comments, and we'll read those out as we get them. You can also text us at 850-215-6290. We did get a text from Evan with his top 5 wrestlers as we await the precious call from Tim Braddock from from Bayberry's Bait and Tackle with the Real Fishing Report. And if we don't get him on the line, I am still going to give Caveman Rick an opportunity to maybe talk a little bit about fishing, but more importantly, what's going on tonight out there. But from Evan, his top 5 wrestlers: Goldberg, Sting, Kevin Nash, also / Big Daddy Diesel, Bret Hart, which is one that I don't think I see in a lot of top 5s these days, so I really like that. And then the Heartbreak Kid himself in Shawn Michaels. Gator Don says there's wrestling tomorrow night at Rosenwald, 7 p.m., The Guardian's Legacy. All right. So if you want your top 5 wrestlers, you can send those to us here at 850-215-6290. Right State Chris says no problem. Most of them are Michigan affiliated sites. That's the other thing, is like, how do we combat this? You know, what are we going to do here? We've got a loaded weekend for you, starting with some college football tomorrow morning. 10:30 coverage starts for Kansas State, Texas. That's going to be one of the games we picked this afternoon. I'm struggling back and forth, but I might have myself a pick in that one. I made one on the inside drive. Let's find out. Am I going to am I going to hedge my bet, if you will, or will I be riding with the Longhorns? So that's 10:30 kickoff at 11 a.m. Then we're going to go over to Auburn and Vanderbilt. And then following that, we're going to end it off with a bang. LSU, Alabama, which our trivia question is going to be pertaining to that. And it's a very interesting answer. Even if you guys don't call in, I'm going to have to read this one out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to kick it over to Caveman Rick to bring in our guest.
All right, so we now on Friday, 4:20, normal segment, we have the Real Fishing Report, sponsored by Bayberry's Bait and Tackle. Tim Braddock's on the line with us. How's it going, Tim? And tell us about what you got going on this evening.
Yeah, doing great. Got a great fishing report lined up. It's been a little this week. We all good? Everybody there?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think we're all right.
All right, perfect.
Hey, Tim, can you get a little closer to the phone for us?
All right, been a little slow this weekend on the fishing side. This cold front obviously has slowed the fishing down for us a little bit. But we ended up with a beautiful day today. Got a shop full right now. Folks that have caught pompano. We've had a good number of redfish caught from surf. Offshore was a little moderate this past week, again, because of the weather. And we are expecting a lot of our rec customers to be able to get out this weekend and be able to fish. So still hard to believe that we can catch snapper this time of year. That's pretty good news.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's getting cool out. The weather's changing, but you can still catch those fish that you normally catch when it's a little bit, the weather's nicer or a little bit warmer, I should say. This is actually kind of nice depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, this is it is very nice. We have quite a few customers coming in from up north, and they're giving us their weather reports, and it's a lot better than what they've got going on there.
Yeah, no doubt. They got a cold front up there that's pushing a little bit of stuff down our way, or had been, and I can't imagine, living up north again, having to go through some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so big event tonight, Last Cast Tailgate Party. And we're looking forward to having a lot of our regular customers out. We've got some of the captains that we supply going to be joining us as well. And it'll be a great time. We'll have food available. Can't do bonfires this week.
Oh, yeah.
Or tonight.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I know.
Forgot about the alert a couple days ago you got. Dang. That's a shame.
Yeah, the burn ban has kind of ex-nayed the plans for the bonfires, but we have plenty of food, sliders, and plenty of cold beverages, ice cold beverages of all different varieties. So come out this evening to Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. We start at 6. The singing, the concert part does, and it'll go till about 8 o'clock. So it'll be a good night to catch a good time.
Right. Yeah, and you're also going to have some music there, and I'm sure that it's going to be a sure thing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I love the puns, and this is definitely a sure thing kind of night. And we have, we're super pumped about having Paul Copeland in, the owner of Sure Thing Cigars. Paul sang, while he was in Nashville, he sings at his cigar shop a couple times a year. And he has gone above and beyond, set up a stage in the bed of his truck, fully equipped with the LED lights, so there'll be a light show with it, and a fog machine. So it'll be a rocking good time tonight at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle.
Right on. So full production there, full production show. Go in there. You said you got some, you got any special deals going on at the shop for this?
Yeah, we do. We are doing our pre-Black Friday sales for our customers. What that means is you can purchase Black Friday sale items that we have out and pre-made. You can go ahead and purchase those tonight. They will not be available for pickup until Black Friday. So if you buy them tonight, you can take them home tonight. But we also are doing pre-orders, meaning you can purchase those items from now until Black Friday, and then you'll be able to pick those up on that Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving. Right. Somebody may ask, why should I have a pre-order? Well, there are limited quantities, not fictitious limited quantities. There are true limited quantities on these items. So if you pre-order any of the items, the top 3 that we're going to highlight, we're doing a Penn surf fishing kit. It comes with the Sand Spike, a Penn Pursuit LE. It's a very nice 9-foot rod to be able to go surf fishing with. Comes with the surf fishing package, what we call the Surf Fishing Pro package, which has the pompano rigs, the weights, fish bites, literally everything you need to fish. It's normally $350 value. You can pick that up for $260 plus tax. So that's a great item. We already have them packaged together, all nice and neat, so they're ready either to be boxed and wrapped, or you can present them just as they are, or you can simply buy them and be able to fish them all on your own.
No doubt. That sounds like a very good deal, man. So what else you got going on in the fishing world that you can tell us about right now?
Say that one more time. You broke up. Right?
Okay. So, no doubt it's a good deal, if somebody's wanting to buy some new products. But what else do you got going on in the fishing world that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so we're kind of coming in that winter time, and we really are focusing on getting the fishing community. Some folks have never, actually a lot of folks have not fished throughout the winter time here. And so we're in shop, we're putting together some seminar nights. Those are available either in shop, you can get the schedule, or through our Instagram pages where we release a lot of that information. Or stay tuned in here every Friday to the Real Fishing Report. And the next scheduled big event for us is going to be a fly tying night on December the 5th. And we confirmed all the details this past week. Very excited about this fly tying night. We have a gentleman that's coming in that lives in our area now, and he ran a large fly tying club up in Central Alabama. And so he's bringing those years of experience down here with him. He's very passionate about fly tying, particularly about teaching fly tying. So you guys are probably well aware that just because you're good at something doesn't necessarily make you a good teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
But John is a great teacher on fly tying. And so December the 5th will be our first fly tying night for this season or for this year. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be the kickoff of going into 2024. Hard to believe we're already talking about 2024.
I know.
But it'll be here before we know it.
Let's not speed that up. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Tim Braddock on the line. He's the owner of Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. The last cast out there tonight. Y'all get out there. Just search Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Is that an open invitation?
It is. It's an open invitation. We just ask people to be respectful, decent humans, and that's usually pretty easy. And we find that most are in that category. So if you fit that bill, feel free to come on out tonight. And 6 to 8, Paul Copeland will be playing a concert from the bed of his truck. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. December 5th is my dad's birthday. Might have to talk him into come learning how to tie some flies. Now, let me ask you this. Like, is there... to me, it could seem like, or it seems like to me, that fly fishing can be intimidating for someone who may not be very good at fishing or doesn't do a whole lot of fishing. Is that the case, or am I overthinking it?
No, you are 100% right. A lot of times the technicality of fly fishing tends to dissuade people from wanting to get involved. And I was actually talking with Zach, one of our shop employees, this morning about fly fishing. And he was like, that's very tedious, time-consuming, technical. It's like, I don't know if I'd be that interested in it. The interesting thing about fly tying is there are a couple individuals that I personally know that tie flies just for the aspect of tying flies. They enjoy the process of tying flies. They don't fly fish at all, but they just enjoy tying flies, or as the fly community calls it, spinning them up. So friends will spin up flies for other, for their buddies. So, and then there's also you can make it a beginning or an entry level fly as well. So, even though it may seem technical at first, there's some very basic building blocks that we can start with in those fly tying nights, and you can go out and catch fish.
Well, going back to that seminar, Tim, and your guest that's going to be, showing the fly tying, you said he's from Central Alabama, so I'm curious. So is this going to be mostly like freshwater type flies he's going to show to tie, or like saltwater patterns, a little bit of both?
Man, that's a fantastic question, Rick. So John is actually well versed and experienced in saltwater flies. A lot of the guys out of his saltwater club, or out of his fly club, fly tying club in Central Alabama, would tie saltwater flies.
Okay.
So great question. And most of the time is going to be spent on tying those fly tying patterns.
No doubt.
The very first night, December 5th, we're going to tie an intermediate fly. So to be something enjoyable, if you never tied a fly before, you'll have step-by-step instruction. You'll have on-site support from multiple guys that are experienced. So, and a lot of the fly tying community is very willing and ready kind of to teach the aspects of fly fishing. Maybe not necessarily tell you where to fish, but to teach you how to fly fish. And so we have a great community already, and the fly tying night is just an event for all of them to get together. And we're obviously opening up to individuals who have never tied flies before. If that's a concern of yours, you'll find this group to be very friendly, very educational, and we always have a good time.
Now, I've never done a ton of fly fishing myself, and the little bit I've done is in freshwater. I'm not even in moving streams, even just like on lakes and ponds. But for surf fishing, I have seen before where anglers will use a basket for when they're like stripping their line. Do you guys have those baskets, and do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, that's a stripping basket. We do not. A lot of that. A lot of times you're stripping on a boat, and they'll have the actual baskets on the front of the boat.
Okay.
Where you'll strip your line into. But great question. We do not have the freshwater gear in stock here.
Okay, that's cool. It's good to know, but if anybody wanted to, I'm sure maybe they can get pointed in the right direction with you.
Yeah, we can definitely link them up or even bring that product in. We are scarce or low on our fly tying selection as well as our fly gear. It was an area in which we kind of decided to table. There wasn't a whole lot of movement with the product, and we really had to spend some time, find that right person to be able to help the community, educate them. I'm not experienced at all. I enjoy it from a hobby perspective. And so we believe that we found that right guy to be able to come in and, be able to talk the technical terms and language, as well as be able to teach it to the beginner. And he's very passionate about it. Looking forward to doing the fly tying nights. This will be something that goes once a month, ongoing.
That is good stuff. And Tim, we're running out of time here. Some would say we're on our last piece of bait, and it'll be our last cast. So why don't you hit us with a summary of the Real Fishing Report, and then also tell them about the last cast event one more time.
Sure. Fishing this weekend should be great. My pick would be to go Saturday morning surf fishing. The weather, along with the winds, look to be accurate. Use sand fleas and finger mullet. Redfish have been abundant in the surf. As far as the last cast party this weekend, starts tonight at 6. Feel free to come by anytime. We've got the food already out. We've got the cold beverages out front ready to be enjoyed. And cigars will be lit and good music will be played.
Good stuff. Thank you, Tim, and enjoy that event tonight. I know Caveman Rick's going to be there. I've got some other things going on in town here, so I will catch you guys on the next time. But, Tim, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Tim Braddock, owner of Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, phenomenal shop out there, and they're going to have a great event. And as long as you're not a troublemaker, essentially, y'all should get out there and hang out. Caveman Rick's going to be out there. If you've never met Caveman Rick in person, you're going to have that opportunity this evening, and he'll be out there kind of representing ESPN Northwest Florida and also representing a great fisherman. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. I think we're going to play a little trivia, talk some Cuban sandwiches, and some other stuff when we get back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers.
Touchdown, Auburn!
Plus, premier college and NFL games. Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Sunny the rest of the day with a wind out of the northeast around 14 miles per hour and 73. Tonight, look for a light breeze out of the east-northeast and clear skies with a temperature near 56. Tomorrow, high around 77 and sunny with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, hot with a high of 75 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
During uncertain times, gold and silver bullion have consistently maintained the financial stability we need. For over 50 years, Coin and Bullion Reserves has served Northwest Florida as your regional choice to protect your future with the peace of mind that hard assets such as gold and silver bullion provide. The fluctuations of the stock market and concern over inflation often lead investors towards safe haven assets like precious metals. If you're concerned about the future of the economy, Coin and Bullion Reserves is here to provide you with the security you need. Come and speak with one of our numismatists so we can help you protect your future.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
When you're completed dialing, listen for the ringing signal.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. If you guys want to win some great stuff, give us a call at 850-215-6290. Hit me one more time with that number.
850-215-6290.
And
we're back.
Nothing wrong with a little Britney Spears bringing us in here. Victor Wembanyama with 38 points last night. I know Britney's not saying hit me, baby, one more time when it comes to that because I think she got enough the first time around from the security guard there. We are going to dive into our fantasy football update. We may or may not talk about Cuban sandwiches and gas station food, but I am curious. From the listeners here. Do you have a favorite place to go get gas station food? In fact, I think, Bone Crusher, what's your favorite?
We were eating some of that Easy Way Deli Cuban sandwich from across the street, and K-Man Rick has never had that. We've been on the beach at this location for, a year now?
Yeah.
Rick's never had that.
Yeah, so. I'm usually fed by the time I get here, so it's usually not a need of mine. But now that I'm here more often, I might have to actually take a stroll over there.
That's a good point. But yeah, I went over there, grabbed me a Cuban sandwich, and then Bone Crusher brought up the idea, like maybe bring that up and find out from some of the listeners what their favorite
chicken.
Yeah,
Tom Thumb's got the hot dog island with the jalapenos and the 3 kinds of relishes.
There you go. 3 kinds of relishes. That's good. I like those.
A relish bar over there.
And this is kind of lame, but at the Cefco's, and there's multiple other gas stations like it, but they have those little rollers. You know what I'm talking about? Like the
the hot dog island rollers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just hot dogs either.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Is those little taquitos or whatever. You got like the pepperoni pizza. Those are good, but I like to get the chicken. Like if I'm just getting 2, I get 1 chicken and 1 steak.
Hey, going back to that though, if you listen to Dan Patrick, here on ESPN Northwest Florida, he got the back row guys. What is it? A hot dog machine, snow cone machine, and a popcorn machine for those guys over there at that studio. So that's pretty cool. So Randy might have to step up your game, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Be like Dan Patrick. But
we've already got a drink machine. Yeah. I think we've hit the jackpot to some extent.
But who's got it better than us? Somebody.
Everybody. Let's say somebody. Yes.
But going back to the gas station food, though, one place that we're going to get soon that I'm familiar with up north is actually Wawa.
Yeah.
They have a great selection of food. From what I understand, too, because I haven't, been there a whole bunch because they haven't been around. Probably not as great as it was when I was a child back in the 80s.
It's like Christmas.
But a lot of things aren't like that, nowadays. But that's a great place. Good sandwiches, good coffee. So when they get those, you might want to check those out. But that's a good place to stop by and get some grub.
Yeah, an honorable mention. We don't have one around here, but I know every time that I am riding with Kyle and we're going somewhere 3 or 4 hours away, he's going to stop by a Buc-ee's. And I've never been to a Wawa, but my one time I got my credit card statement and someone had used my card at a Wawa. So, going through the whole credit card, or not credit card fraud or whatever, but somehow, I guess how sometimes you'll slide your debit card when you're getting gas or whatever, and they can use some magnetic
skimmer device. I think that's what they call them.
Device. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious, man. And
whatever signs on the gas pump, that's what I order. Gas pump sushi.
Yeah, gas pump sushi.
I haven't gone there yet.
Thomas Drive.
There you go, man. Let us know what your favorite gas station food is around here. You can text that at 850-215-6290. I know a place I love to go is Barbaritos, and I'd like to hook you up with $25 to Barbaritos. And I'll go a step further. You need it's that
need something to wash it down.
Well, that's not where I was going. I appreciate that. That was where I was going to go next. But right now it's getting a little colder, so some people are putting the flip-flops up. Why not get $25 to not but that boot store, and then
wash it down, the Barbaritos.
Wash the Barbaritos down with a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock in some brand new boots. And all you got to do is answer this. Which opposing which opposing coach dealt Nick Saban the only home shutout loss of his career? Which opposing coach dealt Nick Saban the only home shutout loss of his career? 850-215-6290. While we are waiting on a call, we're going to go over our fantasy football update here, and we're going to start with the Inside Drive League, where Team Lamb, who falls to 1-7, falls to DJ Davy Crockett in a close one, 130.82 to 125. That's Terry Lamb's team going up against DJ Davy Crockett. Don't Get Your Knickers in a Bosa is our top dog. He scored 146.16 points. He beats Jay Henley Golf 146.16 to 107.76. That's Travis Oglesby, and he's now 3-5. Jay Henley Golf is 5-3. 23andMe, that's Gavin taking on Dynasty QB. That's Liam, and Liam wins 135.88 to 116.56. Keith's team, Offsides, takes on Travis's team's Car Crash, and Offsides gets the win there, 121.66 to 86, and that makes Travis our ankle biter of the week in the Inside Drive League. Brittany beats you down with ADP. First off, Brittany is our only lady of all four leagues, and she beats her husband, Keith Fleming, you down with ADP, 131.12 to 92.08. My Canopy Mud Dogs, Richard owns that team. He falls to Mitchell, Team Mitchell, owned by Robert, 138.66 to 95.84. I think we're getting ready here to play a little trivia. We've got Neil in Southport. What's going on, Neil?
Hey, what's going on today, y'all?
Not a whole lot, man. Are you ready to play some trivia?
I think so. I'll tell you, this is a hard question.
It is.
I think
man.
I have an obvious answer, but I don't know if it's right or not.
All right. Who's your college football team before we even get started?
Gotta be them Tigers, baby.
Okay.
Them LSU Tigers.
All right, then. Which opposing coach dealt Nick Saban the only home shutout loss of his career?
I'm gonna go Les Miles.
Oh, that is incorrect. I'll give you. Let me give you a little hint here. I know that Nick Saban is synonymous with Alabama, but I'll tell the listeners this. This happened when Nick Saban was at LSU.
Oh, was that LSU?
Yeah. So okay. I maybe shouldn't have given that hint out just to make it a little bit more fun. But either way,
well, that's all right. I didn't Google it or anything.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm just going to take a stab.
Yeah, we appreciate the integrity and keeping it real. Let me tell you though, or let me ask you, what are you thinking about that game tomorrow evening at 6:45, which will also be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida?
Well, I think of course, our offense is really, really good. Not sure about our defense. And Milroe, he's really coming a long way, and I think Alabama's starting to finally use him right. Now, I don't know if their offensive line can stand up. Like if Perkins, if he gets loose, it's going to be a good night, Alabama, because we're going to put up 30.
Yes, sir, man. I cannot wait for that game. We really appreciate your thoughts and your call. Neil, you have a great weekend and enjoy that game tomorrow night. Maybe give us a call back Monday, especially if LSU wins. Call Monday and just rub it in my face.
All righty. You got it.
All right, my man. Neil, you take care, buddy. We'll move on now to the Coach James Hell League. And again, you can give us a call or text 850-215. No, give us a call to play trivia. Win $25 to Barbaritos and that boot store. Which opposing coach dealt Nick Saban the only home shutout loss of his career? The Big Blue Wrecking Crew beats Coach James Hell, the Coach James Hell team. Johnny Yankee Seed what's going on right now? He is in control. He's the manager of the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. He wins 156.32 to 112.86. Panama Cool falls to Jonathan Garrett, who was the top dog of the Coach James Hale League, 160.46 to 97.66. Dave owns the Oregon Ducks, and he falls to Slew, who's owned by Nick. Slew wins 118.72 to 102.7. Team Youngblood, owned by Richard, falls to Jimbo, 107.72 145.8. Oh, no. Youngblood wins 145.28 to 107.86. Team Bobby Stavos, they beat Gator J 127.76 to 100.9. And Doomsday beats Kurt's Kings 118.68 to 79.78. Kurt's Kings is your ankle biter at 79.78, and Jonathan Garrett is your top dog. We're going to go over to J. Michael, who's driving along on Highway 231. Let's play a little trivia. Which opposing coach dealt Nick Saban the only home shutout loss of his career?
Well, when you said LSU, I thought back, and Dennis Francione, 2002 Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yes, sir. They won that game 31-0. Now, at that point in time, Bama was on a postseason ban. So I think that when I was looking at ESPN, I remember this game pretty well as well. But when I was looking at it on ESPN, they had Alabama ranked 14, but obviously they weren't ranked in the AP. LSU came in with not only the number 1 defense, but a number 10 to the left side of their name. Alabama ended up running for 300 yards, almost 500 yards of total offense, and allowed fewer than 200 yards. And just absolutely demolished LSU. And the previous year, LSU absolutely ransacked Alabama. So that is the last time that Nick Saban has been shut out as a college head coach. And it's still the last time that he lost a college game by 30 or more points. Jay, so good to hear from you. Jay Michael, thanks so much for the call. And you know where to come pick up your stuff, I assume, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, just do me a favor. Hang on the line. Bone Crusher's going to grab some more info from you, all right?
One more thing, Dave.
Go ahead.
You know the Tide don't lose in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, and last year they did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but this year we're in Bryant-Denny, man. So we'll see how it all plays out. Jay Michael, enjoy your weekend and enjoy all of the college football.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. What you got?
I was just going to ask the Nick Saban question. So is this only college, or was that his only shutout ever, like including NFL? Did you know that? Or
I'd have to go.
No, don't worry about it.
Well, you got a computer. Why'd you ask me that question when you got it?
I could have looked up, but I figured if you looked up the question, I figured you got it from somewhere and it might have had the information. So.
Well, honestly, no. I took a trivia quiz to find this question today.
Right on.
So that's how normally all of this happens is I go and try to find like some fun trivia games. Then I get the answer, but then I try to go and get context for the answer so I can talk about it with the listeners because it's not like, I don't know if he got shut out in the NFL, but we were talking about college. But it does say, it says as a college head coach. So I'll look it up in the break and we'll find out a little bit more. But we're going to keep it rolling with our fantasy football update. Love Pack, Chef Ross takes down Hayes' Heroes, which is my team. Chef Ross wins 122.76 to 101.4. Missing Romo, who was the top dog, that is Lame James. He wins 160.08 to 109.86 against Tyreek Alik, which you can hear Tyreek Alik's manager Drew right here on Thursday afternoons. McLovin beats Know-It-All 136.46 to 117.26. That was between Barrett, who owns McLovin, and Kyle Wright, who owns Know-It-All. Studs and Duds, Clayton falls to Vita Maiveas, which is Justin, 130 to 119.9. Show Me Your Orange and Blue, owned by Kyle Albritton, beats Team McNulty 127.56 to 97.22. And then Buck Nasty, which is Jacob, beats Indy Colts Guy, which is Jeff, 107.58 to 83.48. Our top dog in this league was Missing Romo with 160.08, and our ankle biter was Indy Colts Guys with 83.48. And our final update is going to be, didn't we already do the inside drive? Yes, we did. So we
didn't do Champions League.
So that's the one that we're missing. The Champions League. AG, Ridley's Bet It or Not, falls to Buffalo, which is James. James wins 133.66 to 119.16. Eastside Trash, owned by Gator Jamie. He beats Troglodyte Dynamite, which is Caveman Rick, 100.9 to 64.4. Teamy McFootball, in a close one, falls to Hertzbreakers, owned by Dalton. Teamy McFootball, owned by Ethan. It was 137.46 to 134.32. Big Cloud owns Burrow It Down. He beats CC which is the host of the Inside Drive, Ryan Mulvey, 130.52 to 83.98. The top dog was Luck Ran Out, owned by Tim, with 167.76 points. He beats Big Nick Energy, owned by, obviously, Nick, 167.76 to 135.48. Team Purser beats ESPN Radio Analyst, which is Juan. Chris Purser, the owner of Team Purser, he wins 129.26 to 94.58. Again, top dog was Luck Ran Out with 167.76. The ankle biter was Troglodyte Dynamite, a.k.a. Caveman Rick, 64.4. That's going to do it for us here in the first hour. Hour number 2 is coming up next, and we're going to make our picks for the weekend, and then it'll be the dogs and the locks.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Sunny the rest of the day with a wind out of the northeast around 14 miles per hour and 73. Tonight, look for a light breeze out of the east-northeast and clear skies with a temperature near 56. Tomorrow, high around 77 and sunny with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, hot with a high of 75 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Kitchen Designs Group is excited to announce their new location, 7934 Front Beach Road, Panama City Beach. They offer full-service kitchen and bathroom cabinetry, countertops, and flooring. Plus, they also offer cash and carry. Take your cabinets home today. Let Claudia and Marshall help make your dreams of a new kitchen or bathroom come true. Call Kitchen Designs Group, 850-775-4150 to schedule your free consultation, or visit their website, kitchendesignsgroup.com. Cash and carry only applies to the Shaker White.
Now open Saturdays, 9 to 2.
We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins. WGSX Lynn-Haven, W Field, Q, Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Karen bought 83 liters of Dr. Thunder, a suitcase full of Cheez-Its, and a drum of Crisco. Now she's crying about using the self-check at Walmart.
Maybe we should speak to a manager or something.
Just saying. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. It is hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs, and you guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Full day of football on Sunday. We're going to start it at 8 o'clock in the morning in Germany. We got the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is going to be a revenge game for Tyreek Hill. And then we'll move on to the Rams and Packers, the 12 o'clock game. Then we'll go to the Giants and the Raiders, and we'll finish it off with Sunday Night Football. That'll be between the Bills and the Bengals. Now, we had our trivia question. When was the only time that Nick Saban has been shut out at home in his collegiate career? And so then Caveman Rick said, well, what about the NFL? So I'll tell you this. That question still stands tall because he never was shut out at the house in the NFL. In 2005, he was shut out by the Cleveland Browns, 22-0 at that point in time, which is also kind of wild because Nick Saban coached with the Cleveland Browns under Bill Belichick. Yeah, I was kind of waiting on you there. And then in 2006, they were shut out by the Buffalo Bills, 21-0. But what was one of the reasons why Nick Saban ended up going to Alabama? Because he did not end up with Drew Brees, which took me to say, man, who were their quarterbacks? Well, in 2005, it was Gus Frerotte. Cleo Lemon, and Sage Rosenfels. And then in 2006, it was Joey Harrington, Cleo Lemon, and Shane Matthews. They also had Marcus Vick there on the roster, but it's kind of hard to get things done with those guys. I know Joey Harrington was a prized possession, but just didn't really work out. And Gus Frerotte was a veteran, but also that didn't work out neither.
Yeah, but in Miami, didn't have
Dante Culpepper.
I
think that was the
choice
after.
over Breeze,
right?
And that was the reason why.
And then he said, "You know what? I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here." But I really enjoyed following Dante Culpepper more or less when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. We are going to dive into our college football picks here and our NFL picks. We've got 5 NFL games and 10 college football games. I'm going to pull up the spreads real quick here so that we can give you what I had from Monday and then see how the trends have gone since then. I believe all of these games have a top 25. Yeah, so I'll be able to just keep it locked in right here. We're going to start it off with a game that's right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Number 23, Kansas State taking on number 7, Texas. Texas is a 3.5-point favorite. That's down 1 point from Monday, and the total sitting at 49.5, down 1.5 points from Monday for an 11 a.m. kickoff. We'll start with you, Caveman Rick. Who do you like in this one? Do you like the Wildcats or the Longhorns in this Big 12 game?
All right. Texas is at the house. I think they could use this win. They actually need it if they want to stay relevant, in the playoff hunt. So give me Texas at the house. Matthew McConaughey and his boys.
You might be related to Matthew McConaughey.
It'd be a lot cooler if I did.
It'd be a lot cooler if I did. Who do you got as I just spilled Mountain Dew all over my shirt?
That's a good beverage.
Yeah.
Texas.
Texas, all right. No Quinn Ewers in this game. Malik Murphy's going to go. I made my pick on the inside drive, and I'm just going to stick with it here. I'm going with the upset. Let me get the Kansas State Wildcats in here to continue the chaos that we always see in college football. We're running out of time here. The sand is almost at the bottom of the hourglass. Chaos will ensue, and I think it starts this Saturday with Kansas State getting it going. So I will circle the Wildcats. We'll move on to Texas A&M and Ole Miss, also an 11 a.m. kickoff. Ole Miss is now a 3-point favorite, and they have been all week, and the total is down 1 point, sitting at 52.5, and it was at 53.5. Who do you got in this one, Caveman Rick?
I think Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin and his boys will be ready for Jimbo coming into town. Hotty toddy, man. Jimbo, I don't see why he's be hanging around after this season. So, give me Ole Miss at the house.
Rebels at home.
We're going to sweep that one out, which gives Texas A&M a little bit of a boost there, because normally when you sweep it out somehow, some way, that team that got swept will go on to win. But I like Ole Miss here. I think the offense is going to prove to be too much. Like I said on the inside drive, I think that you're going to get a good game for 3.5 quarters, and then the Ole Miss offense will pull away from that point in time. Then we're going to go to a 2:30 kickoff between number 12, Missouri, taking on number 2, Georgia. Georgia is a 15.5-point favorite. That's down a half point from 16 from Monday, and the total still sitting at 55.5 until something changes. Look, I think Missouri can hang on into this game. I think that this game would bode better for the Tigers if it was earlier on in the season, but the Georgia Bulldogs have figured out how to flip that switch, and with that being said, I've got to go with what I think is the number 1 team in the land, but according to the College Football Playoff Committee, number 2.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I'll go with Philadelphia Eagles South. Missouri's a tough team. They're going to play Georgia tough, I think. I think they're actually going to, cover the points. And they'll be actually, have a closer game against Georgia than probably most people think. But between the hedges, Georgia's going to win.
There is nothing more special than a Saturday between the hedges in Athens, Georgia. There's no chance Georgia loses this game, and we're all going to go ring the bell on campus and head over to the taco stand in downtown. It's going to be a great day in Athens, Georgia tomorrow.
My man, speaking from experience, painting the picture right there. I love that. That was the best answer of all 3 of them right there. Number 9, Oklahoma, traveling to number 22, Oklahoma State. The Battle of Bedlam. Will there be Bedlam for possibly one of the final times that these teams play, at least for a while, depending on what the SEC decides to do moving forward? Oklahoma State is a 6-point dog. That that remains the same since Monday. The total is down 1 point from 62.5 to 61.5. This is a tough one. Oklahoma, undefeated last week, falls to Kansas. Caveman Rick, what's your disposition on this game?
Sad it's the last Bedlam probably, maybe ever, like you said, at least for the foreseeable future. But Oklahoma, man, what a bad loss last week to Kansas, to a backup quarterback. I got to think that they're going to turn it around and they're going to show out in this game. Because if not, then they're just basically a bunch of phonies. So give me Oklahoma after that weak showing last week.
Yeah, Oklahoma, no problem here. I'd love to see a close game at home for Oklahoma State.
Who was it? I want to say AG picked Oklahoma State at the beginning of the season to win the Big 12. Dylan Gabriel, Brent Venables. I mean, Oklahoma was a back and forth game, and they almost had that game. But the backup quarterback for Kansas came in and Bean came in and just did a great job. But I think Oklahoma rights the ship here. And if my pick is correct in Kansas State and Texas, then Oklahoma will again be in the driver's seat, as they already are, because both teams have one loss and Oklahoma has the edge there. But they will be in even more control of their own destiny, of their own fate. I've got Oklahoma winning this one, but I do think it'll be close, maybe even a 3-point game, like by way of a final field goal in the final seconds. We'll move on to a little bit of a Miles special, and that's going to be James Madison. They'll be taking on Georgia State here. I'm looking for the current numbers, but not finding it. Oh, that's because they don't have the College Football Playoff Committee is not going to throw James Madison in the official top 25 because of the College Football Playoff. Absolutely bonkers. That's ridiculous. They've deserved this. This isn't a one-off. They've done it 2 years in a row. But enough rants here. We'll move on to the pick. I'm going to go with James Madison here. They are a 5.5 point favorite. I like James Madison even on the road.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take Georgia State at the house. I used to live in that area, so I'm kind of familiar with that school a little bit. I think Jimmy Madison goes down to Georgia State.
Bone crusher.
James Madison, what? How are they? How is this school ranked? I don't.
Well, okay, so this is AP poll ranking. This is AP poll ranking, and they're not officially ranked because this is only their second year at the FBS level. So they're technically not ranked, but they are undefeated.
All right. Yeah, Georgia State.
And the argument is because they actually stepped up instead of stepping down, and because you stepped up to a tougher, conference, you should be able to enter right in and have a chance.
Yeah, I mean that's my thought. And last year they would have been representing themselves in the Sun Belt Conference, but because because it was their first year moving up, they said, you know what, CCU, you're next in line, so you can go. This next spread's a little puzzling. Kansas is going to be on the road taking on Iowa State. Now, when this opened, Iowa State, who's 5-3, Kansas is 6-2, was a 2.5 point favorite. It's moved even further for Iowa State to be a 3-point favorite, total sitting at 53.5. I'm struggling with this one. Something's telling me to go Iowa State, but I'm not. I'm going to stick with the number 21 team in the land in the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I think Kansas had their big win last week by taking down Oklahoma. There might be a little bit of a hangover after that because of the big win. And Iowa State's a tough place to play at, man. That's a tough crowd over there. Isn't that also the stadium where they do the thing with the kids? No,
that's Iowa.
Oh, that's actual Iowa. Okay, my bad. But anyways, give me Iowa State at the house.
Kansas.
I like it. We're going to move on to number 5, a little Pac-12 football here. Number 5, Washington is on the road in the Coliseum taking on number 20. The college football playoff is ridiculous. The AP polls got USC sitting at 24, but the college football playoff takes a team who's lost 2 games now, who just went to the brink with California and gave up 49 points, and you want to say that they're 4 spots better than the AP poll? Give me a break. You're going to find out in back-to-back weeks how weak USC is. They're going to fall by 17 to Washington. Give me Michael Penix Jr. And then next week they got Oregon. It's going to happen again. I am telling you that. Well, obviously it's not a fact until it happens, but I like Washington by 17. They're a 3-point favorite here. What do you like?
This is a tough one, man. The way the spread is, too, in this game, geez, man, I said yesterday when Adam was here, when I was running the board, man, what does Vegas know that the rest of the world doesn't know? Mm-hmm. So because of that, man, I'm taking USC at the house just because something's fishy there to me.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah. I'm going
I
with
wanted to
Washington.
sound tinfoil hat-ish,
He
but
just persuaded me to change my pick. I am uncircling Washington. Going with the Mafia.
There you go. I like it. That might not be a bad
RICO
pick.
laws, baby.
And it could change things up. But right now, Washington wins that. That's another stat padded for the leader of the pick'em to this point. But it's very close. We're kind of all bunched up, and I believe everyone is sitting over 500 at this point in time. Number 13, LSU on the road under the lights in Bryant-Denny Stadium, taking on the number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide. At the time that I put this together, Alabama was a 3-point favorite, and the spread now still staying at a 3-point spread. The total is up 1.5 points at 61.5 for a 6:45 kickoff. I'll go last on this one.
All right, that's cool. I'll start it off. Alabama's at home. They're at the house. I think they need this win a lot more than LSU, just for Nick Saban alone, just because of the season they've been having. If they win this game, it could propel them into hopes of making it into the playoffs. So give me Alabama.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of gave Alabama a hard time this season. I said, man, this might be Saban's last year, but I'm wrong, and I think they're going to take care of business.
Yeah, man. Our caller earlier, I believe it was Neil, talking about Jalen Milroe's gotten a little bit better, and that's true. Jaden Daniels has also gotten better throughout the season. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I think there's going to be great matchups all across the field in this particular game. But I'm going to say if Jalen Milroe can pull the ball, if they can sit there and run the option, not run the option, but run that read option, and Jalen Milroe decides to keep it himself and utilize his legs, the man can be the fastest person, the fastest athlete on the field at times. I think that Alabama wins. Close. I think they cover the spread. I think whichever team wins this game is going to win by 3 points. And I think it's going to be a lot like last year where it's which team, and you hear this all the time, but which team has the ball last more than likely is going to win. But I'll take the Tide to roll in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Plus, it's not very often that teams beat Alabama back-to-back years. We've even had a trivia question on that. I'm rolling with the Tide. We're going to go back to the Pac-12. Number 16, Oregon State is on the road in Boulder taking on Colorado. Colorado was a 13-point dog, and looking at the updated spread, it's only down a half point. Oregon State and the Beavers are a 12.5-point favorite. Total sitting at 61.5. Can Colorado have another one of those upsets?
This game is in prime time, but you know what? Prime time's not playing in this game. So being that it's in Colorado, I don't care. I like Oregon State. I think they're going to be chopping wood and spitting splinters at those Colorado Buffaloes. So give me Oregon State on the road.
Yeah, it's going to be a slaughter.
I don't.
State, yeah.
My thing with this, Arizona last week played great. They were at the house. They took down Oregon State. Colorado has shown, if we were picking with the spread here, no doubt I'm going with Colorado. I think Colorado sticks within 12.5 here. I'm a little weary that Colorado could win this game, but my heart is saying stick with Oregon State in this game. Stick with the safe pick. But I like Colorado with 12.5 to some point. Bowl eligibility is starting to become a major factor here for the Colorado Buffaloes. They need to win 2 more games. They're also 1-4 in the Pac-12. I'm going to stick with Oregon State, but again, if I was a betting man, I'm taking Colorado there with the points. We're going to wrap up our final pick for the college football side of things here. Number 20, UCLA, who's number 19 in the college football playoff rankings. They're 6-2, 3-2 in the Pac-12. They're going to be on the road taking on Arizona, who's 5-3 and 3-2 in the Pac-12. Arizona is a 2.5-point dog that has remained the same since Monday, and the total is sitting at 50.5 for a 9:30 kickoff. I'm taking Arizona in this game, man. Back-to-back weeks here. UCLA's defense is really strong. They don't score very well. I like what Arizona is doing. Give me the Wildcats for the second time on this pick'em.
Yeah, I'm not going to take Arizona in this one. Like you talked about UCLA's defense, I like what Chip Kelly's been doing. I think over there they can run the ball pretty well too. So give me UCLA and a close one on the road.
Yeah, it will be a close one, but UCLA came off a good win. They're playing well.
All right, we'll move on to the NFL. This game starts at 8:30, but the coverage starts at 8 a.m. right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Dolphins at the Chiefs. Caveman Rick.
First off, I want to see what kind of tailgating they got going over there in Germany and check that out. Hopefully they're going to have that on the TV.
Fish and chips?
Sunday morning. No, it's not in England. It's in Germany. It's the Germans.
This game's in
So
Germany,
you're going to have lots of lager, beers, bratwurst, stuff like that probably. Yeah. So I want to check it out, man.
A lot of sauerkraut. Yeah.
So, this game's early. Dude, this is a tough one right here. For me, the Chiefs had a bad showing last week. Patrick Mahomes, man, like in one of my leagues, he got me like 5.5 points. So they need this win, man. And if they don't get a win here, I think it's not going to bode well for the Chiefs. People are going to start talking. So give me the Chiefs here in a barn burner, man. I think they're going to score a lot of points in this game.
Governor? No, we're in Germany still. Dolphins.
All right. It's not Oktoberfest anymore. We're into November, so I guess it's Novemberfest now. I'm with you. I would like to pick the Dolphins. They just have it. They show up against the weaker teams, but when they get into a game with the strong teams, which has been to this point the Bills and the Eagles, it's been 2 touchdown deficits. Now, I will say that the Eagles-Dolphins game was a little bit closer than what the score reflected, but the Bills and the Dolphins, that score could have been even more disproportionate if you're watching the game, which I was actually listening to the game right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Give me the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I think it helps even more so that they lost last week in the non-so-called flu game there for Patrick Mahomes. So I will take the Kansas City Chiefs. Then we'll move on to our 12 o'clock game right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The Rams at the Packers. The Packers are a 3-point favorite, or at least they were Monday. This one's tough for me because I don't know what the status of Matt Stafford is. Yeah, you got Darrell Henderson, and you got Cooper Kupp, and there's some, and Puka Nacua. Cannot forget Puka. But the Packers being at the house here, Jordan Love, they haven't looked all that good, but give me the Packers in this game being at the house.
Yeah, this game's a tough one for me too, but it's not, the frozen tundra yet in Green Bay. So because of that, I don't think the Rams being a SoCal team, is going to have problems. Give me the Rams here. I think, with or without Stafford, they still have enough weapons to go into Green Bay and beat the lowly Packers. So yeah, Rams on the road.
Weather will not be a factor. Partly cloudy and 50 at Green Bay for the game. So Rams.
All right, we'll move on to a big one. I remember watching the Eagles and the Commanders last week and just kept thinking to myself, when are the Cowboys and the Eagles playing? Well, looks like I'm getting my wish. Obviously, we know they're going to be playing twice a year anyways because they're in the NFC East together. But this is a big one. Caveman Rick, you got your Eagles garb on. What is your verdict?
My verdict, it's easy. How am I not going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles in this game? How am I going to go with the
Cowboys? Pick the Stars.
No, man, I don't. That's a 1-star rating.
America's team.
I'm all about 5-star ratings if I'm going to give a rating. This is at our house. We got a 2-game lead on them. We really need to keep that going. The only reason I could see the Cowboys actually winning this game is because they really needed a lot more than us. So with that being said, I think our defense can handle Dak and their offense. Give me the Eagles. We're only favored by 3, but I think we'll beat them by a touchdown.
The Germans are probably wondering what Philadelphia people eat when they tailgate.
It's simple. If you got half a brain, man. Cheesesteaks, soft pretzels, hoagies.
If you got half who do you got in this game, Bone Crusher? Eagles. I'm going to go in the same direction as you guys. The Cowboys, they blew out the Rams last week, but now you're going to be in the link. Now you're going to be going up. The brotherly shove's going to come out 6 to 7 times in this game. I think it's going to be close, but I like the Eagles.
Best home field advantage in sports.
You say that about every single sport that's over there in Philly.
Yeah, it's because they're fans. Nobody likes to come in and play against us.
Bills at the Bengals. Sunday Night Football coverage starts right here on ESPN Northwest Florida at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:20. Want to revert real quickly back to the Cowboys and the Eagles. That game will not be here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's going to be the Giants and the Raiders. But I was like, we're not picking the Giants and Raiders, dude. Not when the Cowboys and Eagles are on the schedule. But Bills, Bengals, that will be on ESPN Northwest Florida. And the kick is at 7:20. Bengals are a 3-point favorite. Total sitting at 48.5. I'll let you start, Caveman Rick. I'm still a little weary of this game.
Yeah, I am too. This is the DeMar Hamlin game from last year. So it's at the Bengals' house. I think the Bengals, both teams need this win really bad, to be perfectly honest. I think the Bengals needed a little bit more, though. So I think because of that, Joe Burrow shows out, and Josh Allen will just find a way to probably fumble or throw a couple interceptions. So give me the Bengals at the house.
Buffalo.
Give me, man. Again, I'm telling you, dude, this one, for me, I could flip a coin and just say, all right, I'm riding with that team for this particular game. Bills being on the road, I think that Josh Allen might struggle and turn the ball over in the red zone some. Joe Burrow, and I think that this is facetious, but I just saw it and I didn't take any time to go fact check it or whatnot. But Joe Burrow said, I heard someone say that I'm playing like Dak Prescott, so it's time for me to get my head out of my tail.
Wow.
But Dak Prescott's been playing good football this year, though. I'm going to take the Bengals in this game. And then last but not least, on Monday Night Football, we've got the Chargers and the Jets. Jets were a 3-point dog from Monday, total sitting at 41.5. I almost want to take the Jets here and create job insecurity for Brandon Staley, but I think that the Chargers and Justin Herbert, both of these teams need this game just as much as the other one does. Maybe the Chargers a little bit more just because of where their record is at, but give me Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Yeah, Staley's seat, man, it's radioactive, dude. It's nuclear. He's gone, I think, no matter what happens this year. The Chargers in this one, I got to take them all day. They need this game. It's a big game for them. Justin Herbert will be throwing up the number one sign on his non-throwing hand because he's got it in that splint. Give me the Chargers.
Aaron Rodgers posted on Twitter that he needs a little more time. So I know David's following that story. What do you got the latest on your conspiracy?
Even more so after Kirk Cousins' injury. Okay, let's take a break and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. Maybe do some dogs and locks. I got to go help Travis real quick get his prize package. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Clear tonight with a moderate breeze around 13 miles per hour out of the east-northeast and temps near 56. We will have sunshine and a wind speed of 9 miles per hour tomorrow morning and be hot at 71. And sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 77. Sunshine Sunday with a temp of 75. Monday, the high will reach 74 with mostly sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Bestway Portable Buildings offers a huge selection of portable buildings in just about any size, from the smallest to the largest. And Bestway's prices won't scare you away. Bestway is closing out 2023 with some of the most affordable prices ever. And while there, don't forget to say hello to Bestway Buddy. He may even give you a polygraph. Right, buddy? Bestway Portable Buildings, 2919 Highway 231 North in Panama City. The best in portable, period.
When summer comes to a close on the loveliest village on the plains, our family gathers again just as we have for the last 131 years. Unrivaled traditions.
Get out your toilet paper. Toomer's Corner is going to be buried tonight.
The craziest atmosphere.
You're not going to keep them off the field tonight.
Unforgettable moments.
Discipline and believe. Let's go play ball.
That's Auburn being Auburn.
Your home for the Auburn Tigers. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hometown sports talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You can give us a call or text at 850-215-6290. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Big shout out to Travis coming by to pick up his stuff. Had to help him. We normally just try to do it from 9 to 4 that way because sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to get everything together and stuff. But I make special exceptions because all of you listening are very special people, especially to all of us here who you give us your time. You hang out with us. You know, you're in the car with us if it's for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you're calling, if you're texting us, if you're giving us things to talk about, we appreciate it tremendously. So you can always give us a call or text as well at 850-215-6290. Caveman Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about Emberlyn Newman and that baseball charity event coming up this Sunday?
Baseball charity event coming up this Sunday. It's pitching in for Emberlyn's cause. Emberlyn's a 2-year-old who fell ill on September 5th of 2023 after multiple hospital visits. A 5-centimeter brain tumor was diagnosed on her left side. She's currently hospitalized in Gainesville receiving vital treatment. Every contribution made during this tournament will directly support her living and medical costs throughout her treatment. This tournament's round robin. It's free. All gate donations will go to the family of Emberlyn Newman. Again, it's at Lynn Haven Sports Complex, 2201 Recreation Drive in Lynn Haven. Again, come out, show up. It's for a great cause. Donate whatever you can. Like Dave was saying, if it's $20, $100, whatever's going to this little girl, it's going to help her out. This is a great cause. This is a great community. We always reach out and help each other out. When I've seen from Hurricane Michael and everything else, it's a good deal. So go out, help out the people in your area because you never know when you might need to help yourself.
All right. So I see. Well, Bone Crusher wants to know what the latest update is. So this is first, let me start off where I was Monday. Kirk Cousins gets hurt. I'm sitting there watching the guy, right? I'm like, dude, he can't put any weight on it. He can't even, when he gets over to the bench, he's sitting there on the bench and he's got his left leg down on the ground, but his right leg, he's just holding in the air because he can't do anything with it. So then I didn't watch the injury. I didn't get to watch the injury. So I go back on NFL Plus and I'm scrolling through and I go and takes me 20 minutes, but I finally found the injury. And so I'm like, okay, that is totally different than the Aaron Rodgers situation because he's sitting there and his hands on his hip and then he sits down. And what the thing that stands out to me when Aaron Rodgers sits down is he doesn't just sit down on his butt. He also puts weight on his ankles where that Achilles is right there by having both of his heels on the ground. So I'm like, all right, this doesn't make any sense. And now they're already talking about the timeline of him coming back. Here's the other thing that I have to say to keep myself honest with the whole thing. Tuesday night, I go over to Todd Mueller's house, PCB hobby owner, because he's having a little cookout and it was Halloween. And so they were doing a Halloween whatnot or whatever. So I was like, okay, and one of the guys is in a walking boot. So we're talking about his injury or whatever. He's like, yeah, I tore my Achilles. I'm like, oh.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh.
I got some questions.
Yeah, exactly. And so he heard it while he was on a run and continued to run on it. But here's the kicker, though. Now, it ends up being debilitating. He is on a walking boot. It does bother him and stuff. But here's where the kicker is, though. His is a partial tear, whereas for Rodgers and for Kirk Cousins, a complete tear. So while I can sit there and take his words and be like, okay, well, so you were still running on it afterwards and really didn't notice for a long time that it was bothering you, or for a month or two you were, but that's a partial. So Aaron Rodgers could be all in the up and up here, but what it comes down to for me, and why I like to make this thing a big deal, because it's really neither here nor there. But for me, why I do think that there's some validity in this conspiracy is because the Green Bay Packers, right? They draft Jordan Love. He doesn't like that. Then he gets traded to the Jets, right, which is what he wanted, but there's a stipulation in the trade. If you play 70% of the snaps, we're sending you a second-round pick, New York. We're going to give you a second-round pick. But if Aaron Rodgers plays 70% of the snaps, that second-round pick now is going to be compensated up. It's going to be upgraded to a first-round pick. Aaron Rodgers probably thinking to himself, or maybe talking with the Jets, man, we got a good defense here. I think on defense alone, we can get to week 14 or 15. Wow. We can get to a week where I will not play 70% of the snaps. So then the Green Bay Packers can't turn around, take that first round pick, and get a new quarterback. Because you got to know that Aaron Rodgers, he cannot guarantee that Jordan Love will not be the future quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. But you cannot guarantee, you know what I'm saying? You can't guarantee, but he's probably thinking, I've seen this guy. Like, I know he doesn't really have what it takes. I'm a vet in the game. I know a good quarterback when I see one. So maybe he's sitting there thinking, you guys did that to me, and I could have given you the rest of my career. So I'm going to do this to you, and we'll still get to the playoffs. Then I'll be here in the New York media, and it'll be like, oh, my gosh, Aaron Rodgers, fastest healer of all time. Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm at with the whole conspiracy theory.
I think revenge is an underrated motivation.
It's pretty deep what Dave's got going on there, but, like, man, Tom's going to tell, and if it ends up coming to fruition and being true, like mind-blowing, you know?
It'll be lucky. Well, because really what got me started on this path is I saw someone trying to turn it into Illuminati stuff. Like, he had so many numbers, like 11 seconds for this, 33 seconds for this. If you see what Aaron Rodgers was wearing, and I'm like, all right, this is way out of whack. But then I start to thinking about, I get to start thinking about the whole pick thing and all of that. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here I can kind of create, like, you know, mold it a little differently and kind of run with it. And honestly, at the beginning, a lot of this was facetiousness. It was more just kind of like, where's Miles at when you need him type deal. You know what I mean? And then 7 weeks, like last week Tuesday on the show, there's a report that comes out. Aaron Rodgers could be ready by NFL week 15. Like, all right, now that's when you're starting to like kind of poke it in our face, rub it in our face that maybe there is something going on here. But again, it goes back to where we started in the show. You got to let the cake bake on all this kind of stuff as well.
And I'm glad that you had your gears grinding and like moving around and thinking, because when that first happened, all I was thinking about was the memes and the jokes that were coming out about how, like, you know, what's the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Abe Lincoln? It's like Aaron Rodgers made it through 4 plays, Abe Lincoln only 1 play. Sorry.
Too soon.
Oh, my God.
It's not too soon. That was a while ago. On both takes. Both Aaron Rodgers and Abe Lincoln.
Well, I don't know who the kid was or whatever, and I won't even say the certain instructor, but there's a young man putting, and he hits the putt, and he says, John Wilkes Booth. And the guy looks at him, and he's like, what in the world is that? He's like, he never misses. All right, dark
Shoot him
humor. All right, dark humor is we'll move on from that. We'll move on from that. All right, let's do a little dogs and locks here. I see that you've already got some stuff filled out here. So let's start with our NFL dogs. Who are your NFL dogs of the week?
First one I got
just
is
one. Yeah, just do one at a time. Yeah.
Panthers versus the Colts. The Colts are a 2.5-point favorite, but and they're at the house. But still, give me the Panthers. They only got 1 win. Bryce Young's been playing pretty well as of late. Compared to the first handful of games he's had this season. The Colts, they can run the ball and they can be kind of dangerous. But Minshew, I think he's not a guy that's going to be great when he has to start like the whole season. You put him in for a game or two here or there, and I think he does a lot better. He's been in there for quite a while. So with that point spread being 2.5 points, give me the Panthers with the points.
I have got a text for you, but I'm going to save it till the next segment, Caveman Rick. And then also have a text from Wright State Chris that I find very interesting. But we're going to keep it on subject here, or else we're just going to go on other tangents. And we don't have much time left in this segment. Deshaun Watson is starting for the Cleveland Browns. P.J. Walker did an incredible job being the starting quarterback while Deshaun Watson is out. The Cardinals are a 10-point dog. Now, I know that Clayton Tune is going to be the starter. Josh Dobbs is over there in Minnesota, and he won't even be starting. It's going to be Jaron Hall for the Minnesota Vikings out of BYU. But I like the Cardinals with 10 points. So, only lose by 9. So give me the Cardinals as one of my dogs of the week in the NFL. And then what's your second one, Caveman, right?
Second one we already talked about earlier, one of the picks we made. But you got the Rams going against the Packers. Packers a 3-point favorite at home. I mentioned how it's not the frozen tundra yet. Rams have plenty of weapons. We talked about Cooper Kupp. We talked about Nakua, whether or not Stafford plays or not. So I just got a feeling there with that point spread being 3 points, the Rams should be able to cover that. So give me the Rams.
Dude, I'm giving you 2 more more real quick. And and again, I'm not a betting man. I like to do these things sometimes to sweat a little bit, but don't be surprised if we're talking about a 3-leg parlay that I run this weekend, and we're talking about that Monday. Commanders getting 2.5 points on the road taking on the Patriots. I like the Commanders with the money line right there. No Kendrick Bourne. Even without the defense, bro, and we're still talking about the Patriots, right? And they don't got Kendrick Bourne over there. So I'm telling you, I like the Commanders as a dog. I'm going money line. I wouldn't suggest going money line for other people. Maybe take the 2.5, but I'm saying I'm going to go money line. And then my other one, Giants on the road taking on the Raiders. Daniel Jones should be back in this game. It's going to be Aiden O'Connell going for the Raiders. They don't know how to throw the ball to Devontae Adams. Now, maybe it's going to help. Maybe it's going to be like the year when Rich Bisaccia took over for John Gruden, and they get this influx of energy, and just start winning ball games. But I like the Giants. They're getting 1.5. Yes, they're on the road, but I like the Giants against the Raiders. Maybe it's whack. Who knows? We'll find out Sunday. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, if you're going 16-0 in the NFL every week when you've got all 32 teams playing, then you're probably making some really good money. But I don't think anyone is, because it has been a wild season in the NFL. Let's go over to your locks. Who do you got?
All right, locks. We talked about 2 of them right over here. You did on the other side, so that's why I was shaking my head. But first off, you got the Patriots and the Commanders was my first one. Commanders with the 2.5 points. They're favored by. The Commanders, they gave up all their defense basically.
They gave up 2 players.
Well, basically most of their defense. All the talented players that they have for the most part. Bill Belichick, he knows how to scheme. He's a defensive type guy. I think they'll be able to slow down the offense of the Washington Commanders, and they'll figure out a way to win. So that's why the Pats might even win this one outright.
All right, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not with you there. I understand where it is that you're coming from. The Bears are an 8-point dog, but they're on the road as well. Here's going to be my lock of the week, and this is asinine, but I'm going to do it anyways. Taylor Heineke's going to be starting for the Atlanta Falcons. They're hosting the Minnesota Vikings. I've already mentioned who the starting quarterback out of BYU, Jaron Hall, going for the Vikings. No Justin Jefferson. Give me the Atlanta Falcons to cover 3.5 points against the Minnesota Vikings. That'll be my only lock. Do you got another lock?
Yeah, I got another one, but one that you had is a dog, man. I got the Browns and the Cardinals. I don't care about Clayton Tune, man. I think the Browns defense will be able to handle the Cardinals offense and the 10 points, man.
Needs this game moving forward. So give me the Chargers. I'll lock them up in the NFL. That is our dogs and locks for the NFL. Stay tuned in this next segment. We're going to recap our local and then try to jump into college football dogs and locks, but we have some texts to get to first.
Your home for college football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This Saturday, it's a college football triple header. First, Kansas State at Texas, kickoff at 11, followed by Auburn at Vanderbilt at 3. Then, it's the LSU Tigers versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Coverage starts at 6:45 on your home for the most live college football on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Clear tonight with a moderate breeze around 13 miles per hour out of the east-northeast and temps near 56. We will have sunshine and a wind speed of 9 miles per hour tomorrow morning and be hot at 71. And sunny in the afternoon and evening at a high 77. Sunshine Sunday with a temp of 75. Monday, the high will reach 74 with mostly sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. It is the final segment of the week. You've been riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and we appreciate you guys for giving us some of your time. You can always call or text us at 850-215-6290. You're going to want to keep it locked into this station Saturday and Sunday, as we're going to have football on all day long, starting at 10:30 on Saturday. That won't be over till after 10 o'clock Saturday evening, and then you'll get a little break, take you a little nap, an 8-hour nap or something. Some would call that sleep. And then you can go into Sunday morning. Make sure you're well rested, because at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to get to the coverage of the Dolphins and the Chiefs, and that will kick at 8:30, and we will have more than 12 hours of football for you on Sunday as well.
Yeah, definitely don't forget to set your lineups and do your picks before Sunday morning because of that early game.
Oh, actually, you don't really need a full 8 hours of sleep. You don't need a full 8 hours of sleep. You can do 7. You can get 7 because it's daylight savings time.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I always forget about that, but here we are remembering, and I would not have thought about that until you brought it up. So again, as always, thank you, Caveman Rick.
No worries, and I got a funny meme I got to start sending out to some people here in a little bit too because of that.
Like when it comes to the night of daylight savings time or going back to standard time, do you like when you lose the hour of sleep or gain the hour of sleep? Because it's one of those mixed things, right? Of course, I feel better in the morning when I gain that hour of sleep, but man, I miss the sunlight. It's already bad enough when I go outside, and by the time I walk from the door to my truck, it's dark. You know what I mean? It's like the sun is just setting at a rapid pace. But then after you get that extra hour of sleep, then halfway through the show, if I walk outside, it's dark at that point in time.
Yeah, no doubt. I like it when the clocks jump ahead. I like having that extra hour. To be perfectly honest, I'd rather just leave it alone, keep everything the same all year long, and then we don't have to worry about our schedules changing, getting used to it, because it always takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to kind of fall back into it and kind of get used to it.
Yeah, you're very routine oriented,
and I hate that. So yeah, that's one of my shticks.
I'm going to be changing my watch from sunshine and happiness to darkness and misery.
Yeah, well, at least we have a couple more months before we really settle into that depression. And yeah, I'm joking, but the depression of not having football, we always kind of have been joking about that since it was the Coach's Daughter Show and Leanne Schwartzentruber was hosting the show. A couple of texts I want to get to after we dive here into the local. Last night, Choctaw took down Mosley 35-0, and tonight at Tommy Oliver, we're an hour and 15 minutes away from Rutherford hosting Bozeman, and Bozeman is looking to go 10-0. They've already... I love it. They've already got a new program record at 9-0. The previous best mark, 8-3, back in 2012. They have already clinched the 1 seed. They've got a first-round playoff bye. They are in that. They're the number 1 seed in the 1R Region 1. Bozeman versus Rutherford, Tommy Oliver tonight at 7 p.m. Some of the other games going around our area, you've got Walton hosting Northview. Walton's 9-0 as well, and they'll be kicking that one off at 7 p.m. Here's another big one. Niceville, the number 1 seed, is going to be hosting Navarre. Both of those teams sitting at 7-2, and that one will kick off at 7 p.m. Weewaw, who's 4-5, hosts 0-9 Franklin County at 7 p.m. North Bay Haven Academy, they're having a great season too at 4-5. They're going to be hosting the 0-8 Arnold Marlins. Port St. Joe's hosting Bay at 7 p.m. Port St. Joe is 5-4. Bay comes in with a record of 4-5. Sneads is 4-4. They're hosting 3-6 Freeport. Rutherford, as we mentioned, they're 2-7, which those 2 wins are huge for that program, moving in the right direction. They're hosting 9-0 Bozeman. That is at Tommy Oliver. Y'all get some tickets and get over there and put on for the young athletes. Mariana hosts South Walton. Mariana's 5-4. South Walton 6-3. FAMU DRS, they'll be hosting Vernon. FAMU 1-6, Vernon 4-5. Graceville is 0-8. They're going to host Contondale, aka Cottondale, not also known as, really known as Cottondale. Graceville's 0-8, Cottondale 6-3. Chipley's 5-2. They're going to be hosting the Bluntstown, who is 6-2, and then Jefferson County comes in with an 0-9 record. They're going to host Liberty County, who is 3-6. We did have a couple of texts. I want to lead it off with Wright State Chris's text, and as it pertains to our trivia question from earlier with Nick Saban. He says in 1971, when Nick Saban was playing for Kent State, they lost at home to Miami of Ohio 30-0. Obviously, he wasn't coach there, but I appreciate the research for Wright State Chris to go back in time and find that answer for us. Now let me irk Caveman Rick a little bit.
Nice. Let's do it.
Michigan Eddie says,
right on.
Detroit blows Philly out of the water in terms of fans. Even if we suck, we travel. Toughest places to play are in Detroit.
I don't think so, buddy. I hate to tell you that, but you don't have the Detroit fans known across the country as just being like obnoxious. You don't have 8-year-olds talking about your mother or maybe your kids or something like that you might have in Philly. I've seen on Facebook where people are texting their friends and somebody's looking over their shoulder and taking a picture of what they're actually texting or sending to somebody, and it's ripping Philadelphia fans because we're loud and obnoxious and we're doing our job. That's what you're supposed to do, and we're known for it. So until you have the reputation that we have, Michigan Eddie, I'm sorry, dude, but we take the cake, man.
Tonight in the NBA, I haven't been paying a ton of attention. I've watched 3 or 4 games, which is almost amassed my total from last year. I keep up with the NBA. It's just been really hard to watch games because of all of the stop. And I've said it 3 days in a row, so hopefully if you have heard it, then good. But tonight in the NBA, that play-in tournament starts, and that's going to be tonight's game. You've got the Knicks at the Bucks. You've got the Mavericks at the Nuggets, the Cavs at the Pacers, the Wizards at the Heat, the Nets at the Bulls, Warriors at the Thunder, and Grizzlies at the Trailblazers. So this is going to be interesting. Obviously, we haven't seen any of this. I don't know what the impacts are going to be. I really didn't take the time to read this. I pulled up ESPN to see if anything's been breaking or anything like that, and I'm interested in seeing this. So you've got 3 different quadrants, if you will. You can't call them quadrants because it's not 4 teams, it's 5 teams in each little A, B, and C. You've got the East A, East B, East C. In East A, you've got the 76ers, Cavaliers, Hawks, Pistons, and the Pacers. So it's essentially just like the dang divisions.
It's divisions.
Well, it's not exactly, though, because you would have the Bulls in that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Honestly, I guess what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit more about it after we see what in the world this is going to be. Each player on the winning team does get $500,000, and the runner-up will get $200,000, and the losing players of the semifinals will each get $100,000, and the losing players of the quarterfinals will get $50,000. So just another way to get a little bit more money for these athletes.
I'm just curious as to see how the coaching are going to use their players, if there's going to be any kind of load management, and anything here based.
Well, these
off
count
of
as regular season games.
No, I know they do, but I'm just still saying. You got guys that typically don't play a whole lot, like the Kawhi Leonards out there and what have you. And depending on how competitive this ends up being, it's early in the season. People probably don't want to get injured. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting just to see how people get utilized.
I agree with that, but I think I do think that load management lies more on it's almost like the preseason when we were talking about that in the NFL, where coaches, it's not the players saying I don't want to play in this game. Coaches are saying no, we're not going to put our investment out here in a game that doesn't matter. So that's the cool thing about this. The games do matter, and then you're adding the incentive. So it's going to be hard to keep guys off the floor. Like if you're the coach, now what you say goes, right? But guys are going to be like, man, I want to play. I do. Like that
Maybe
extra
they should make it where you have to play them all.
100,000 is going to be important.
Maybe
to some of them.
Maybe you should make it where you have to play all the games to get paid at the end of the tournament.
That makes sense. But okay, so that's where that becomes that double-edged sword, though, right? Because what about the 12th man on the roster who doesn't really get in and stuff, but he needs that 100,000 more than everyone else?
Well, not on the floor, but I mean, like as long as you're suited up and you're quote unquote healthy and you're not in street clothes. Okay, then you're there, you're with your team, and then you can get the money. But like I said, if you're getting load management, utilized, and you're just sitting there in street clothes, then I don't think you should get the money at the end.
All right, man. I like that. It's going to be interesting. I just brought that up. I didn't know if you had any other thoughts on this, but it'll be interesting to see.
No doubt.
If this adds any type of extra wow for the NBA fans. Again, the one thing I really want to see the NBA kind of streamline the game a little bit more. We're taking too much time with their free throws. We're taking too much time with the replays and all of that stuff, and it's just really hard to watch. And I can only imagine, like for the younger crowd, why would they sit through this? I mean, shoot, college football fans, some of the most faithful. NFL fans, some of the most faithful. And what they do this year with college football, they get rid of stopping the clock after first downs unless it's in the final 2 minutes of the half. And all that didn't really take off anything but about 20 to 30 minutes of the actual full game, because last year we were getting to some games that were over 4 hours and whatnot. And halftime's also like 30 minutes, it feels like. But all it did was just add commercials. But we're still here like, I mean, the commercials stink, don't get me wrong, but at least we still got football. So I would like to see basketball kind of streamline, or at least make these games move a little bit quicker, or
make it a point about the delays, because you already have all the timeouts and you have the fouls too.
So many,
yeah. So then that adds to it too. So you got to streamline it, like you said.
What is the game of the week in your opinion here? Let's go one for the NFL and one for college football.
NFL. How can you not go with the? Well, I guess there's two really of the week. Yeah. I guess I'll pick mine. Eagles, Cowboys. I mean, it's the kind of game for me. If the Eagles win 2 games a year, and there's only 2 games are against the Cowboys, as far as I'm concerned, that's a winning season. I won't be that sad, okay? We might have lost 15 games, but hey, we beat the Cowboys those 2 games. I can live with that, okay? So for me, this is a game I get up for every year.
And the other one you were going to say, and you were originally going to go, was going to be what?
The one in Germany, Dolphins and the Chiefs, obviously.
So I'm going to go differently, though. Dolphins and Chiefs is going to be a great one. It's in its own slot, so all eyes will be on that one. Then I'm going to Sunday Night Football. What was a game that we didn't really get to get?
Bengals, Bills.
And Bills, Sunday Night Football. I think that's going to be the game of the week. So you got 3 of them, really, that qualify, and you never know. Like, here's the thing with the Rams and Packers, very similar records. That one could be a good game. Even go to the Giants and Raiders. You go to the Falcons and the Vikings. The storyline there of 2 new starting quarterbacks. Not new starting quarterbacks, but for their team, right. 2 new starting quarterbacks. Jaron Hall out of BYU, and then Taylor Heineke. So I'm interested in some of those games, but my game of the week is going to be Sunday Night Football, and that's going to be the Bills and the Bengals. But Cowboys, Eagles, Dolphins, Chiefs, other great options as well.
Another stat, too, we heard about earlier in the week. What is it, like 60-something quarterbacks have been utilized or thrown a pass so far this year? And then going into this weekend, you're going to have a couple other quarterbacks added to that list. So that's nuts already that halfway through the season that many quarterbacks have already played in the league.
Yeah, Lynn Haven Rob says the only thing is speeding up the time of the games in college is if you go to a game, the Red Hats clock says there's 3 minutes 20 seconds now. It added more commercial. That's exactly what I was saying. Is it adds more commercial time, and which stinks. But also, if you try to take the silver lining, yes, we want to sit there and we want it now, but also now it gives you a little bit more time instead of like going and getting your sweet tea or whatever. Now you can go and get your sweet tea and maybe a snack to go along with it. So you do have that if you try to take the silver linings. How about college football game of the week for you is?
For me, it's going to be Bedlam, since it's probably going to be the last time, supposedly. It's a big game. It's always been a big game. So, I mean, with the history there and the rivalry, how can you not go with a big game like that?
Yeah. Obviously, you got to go Bama LSU as being one of them. I think a sneaky good game, and it could be a sneaky good game, is going to be Missouri Georgia. I think that Georgia is gonna blow them out, but I think that it could be a sneaky good game. And then another one I'll say could be, because it'll be the late night game. I'm interested. I like watching those Pac-12 way after dark games. UCLA, Arizona.
Yeah. Also, Washington, USC. I think that's going to be a great game, too. I'll check that one out. Plus, you got a couple guys that are, Caleb Williams is probably going to win the Heisman, but Penix can definitely, make some plays and have a moment that might help him win it.
It's been a great week. Thank you guys for riding along with us. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy all of the football. Keep it locked in here to ESPN Northwest Florida. You've been riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. For Bone Crusher, Caveman Rick, I'm David Hayes. You got the Coach James Hale Show live Monday at 7 a.m. The Inside Drive live Monday at 11 a.m. We'll be back Monday at 4. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.
This Sunday, it's an NFL quadruple header. First, Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs live from Germany. Kickoff at 8:30. Then, Rams at Packers. Kickoff at noon, followed by Giants and Raiders. Then, Sunday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals at 6:30. Right here on your home for the most live NFL on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Clear tonight with a moderate breeze around 13 miles per hour out of the east-northeast and temps near 56. We will have sunshine and a wind speed of 9 miles per hour tomorrow morning and be hot at 71. And sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 77.